Good evening. The time being 7 p.m., I'd like to call this meeting to order. Administration advises that there's no additions to the agenda. Do any members of council wish to make amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a mover and seconder to pass a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Councillor Tedesco, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. Are there any declarations of interest to disclose? Seeing none. Presentations and deputations tonight. We have Joanna and Patrick from Ontario Clean Water Agency here with us for the third quarter report on the wastewater treatment. Go ahead.
Good evening, Your Worship, Council and Administration. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present the third quarter operations report this evening. Patrick Albert, the manager for the Red Rock Water and Wastewater Facilities, is going to present the report. I'm going to share it on my screen if I'm able to, and then we would welcome any questions from council as well. Oh, I don't think I have access to share it. So I believe you all have copies of the report. Do you want to start by walking? Oh, I have access now. Perfect. Okay. Here we go. So over to you, Patrick.
Perfect. Thanks, Joe. Good evening, everyone. So yeah, we'll get into the Q3 report. I guess you'll all be happy to find that it's going to be a pretty uneventful presentation, as everything's kind of running pretty smooth. So we start off with the flows, and again the distribution system rated capacity is 2,722 cubic meters per day. And as you can see, we're well within our numbers there. And again, you know, I think our max flow between the three, we're looking at, you know, 483 in July was our highest. And typically you'll see that as, you know, July, August are warmer months. People are watering their lawns a lot more, utilizing the water a lot more, so you'll get a little bit higher flows than you would, you know, like in September it starts to come down, and you'll probably see it gradually come down as the months go on here. For the wastewater plant, same thing, but our capacity there is 3,800 cubic meters per day, and now keep in mind that during Q3 we're still operating on the old wastewater system. In Q4, you'll probably see some changes in the numbers as we've transferred over to the new facility. So yeah, 3,800 cubic meters per day is our max for the old wastewater facility. And then again, as you can see, we've kept in within our numbers with no issues. Which is all good things and all good signs, because it gives the opportunity for growth to the Township of Red Rock should, you know, an expansion come in or more residents, more housing comes up. There's room, you know, with the system to be able to accommodate that. Compliance summary, just a quick summary, just to let council know that, you know, all regulatory samples have been taken. Chlorine residuals in the distribution system have been taken, all within the proper timelines according to the regulation, and no issues when it comes to the distribution water or the treatment water. All samples came back clean, and we do keep records of those. And I believe the lab reports also go to the township as well. Typically we like to, you know, discuss with council anything that, you know, has anything to do with, you know, inspections or any kind of communication that we have with the regulatory body, so the MECP. And throughout Q3, we had been going back and forth with the approvals branch of the MECP regarding the renewal for the municipal drinking water license. The final draft has been received, so we're all good to go there, and that's final. So we don't have to won't have to go through that for another 5 years now. So we're good on that. It's been reviewed by the township and by the aqua operators, our PCT group, myself, Joanna, Jeff. So everything is pretty well in order, and I don't think there's too many changes there from the previous one. We like to capture the community complaints or any concerns that may have came up to the township, within the quarter. No complaints or issues have come up with the drinking water or the distribution system. And typically the way this would work is the complaint would go through the township, and then the township would let us know, and then we would handle the situation accordingly, whether it would be flushing or extra sampling or anything that we might need to do on our end. But again, everything was good and no complaints. We do have some call outs, averaging about 3 call outs a month. Some of these issues are quick fixes and some things that can happen. We did have some issues with the just recently with the level indicator. But there'll be a highlight on the Q4 report for that. But I just wanted to let council know that, and which, you probably already do. The situation was handled. It was taken care of very quickly. And we're all good now in that regard. And we were back online within a few days. And again, for as the overall responsible operator, there's just a little statement there that, that just states that, the communication between Aqua and the township, along with council, is wonderful. I mean, we have a great relationship. We're having, communications pretty regularly and making sure that everyone's up to speed on everything. And for us, it's great to have that and that teamwork and that communication, because it's really an extra safeguard to the community when it comes to the drinking water and the quality of it all. And again, quality of excuse me, of preventative maintenance programs and the equipment and all that, right? So we like to put that statement in there, and I know that on our end everything is fabulous and communication is great. Especially with Blair and with Mark, everything's been fantastic. Capital project, currently we're working on getting some recommendations for capital along with a 10-year plan put together. So typically, well, we ended up taking place in March. So typically that would have been where we would be starting to do the work, the approved work on the recommendations. But with the township, having their hands full, we've got the new wastewater facility coming online, and there's still some things to do there. We thought best to kind of concentrate on that for this year. And then by the end of the month, this month, we will be presenting some recommendations moving forward to the township for 2022. Looking down to operator certification, you've got myself, I've got, and just the level of licenses there. Dave Houston, he's our O&M team lead, and he's a level 3. And please notice that he's a level 3 for the wastewater treatment facility as well, seeing as how the new facility will be deemed a level 3 facility. I just want the township to feel comfortable knowing that we have that level 3 operator to operate that plant on a daily basis. Clark has recently relocated to Red Rock. He's our OIT there. And again, with the vast knowledge of maintenance knowledge, you know, and Dave and Clark are going to be the main 2 operators here in Red Rock on a daily basis. And we also have Pierre, who's trained in Red Rock, currently working more towards the Thunder Bay area, but somebody that we can pull should we need any kind of resources. We have that extra operator that we can pull to operate. And not only operate, he's also a big maintenance guy as well. So if there's any kind of maintenance needed, we're able to pull Pierre and Clark as well. And again, I want to just let council know, let the township know that if there's, you know, anything that's ever needed from us, whether it be water, wastewater related, or other, we're always happy to help out, lend a hand, and you know, we've got the operators there that can certainly do that with anything. Other than that, I'd like to thank everyone for just taking the time to let us come in and present this information to you. If there's any questions at all on the Q3 report, please don't hesitate. If there's any questions at all about anything really, please don't hesitate to let us know. Be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any members of council have questions? Okay, we don't see any, so thank you very much. Thank you for the report. It's greatly detailed and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have a great
thank you
night.
very much. Have a great night, everyone.
Okay, the minutes of the last regular meeting, October 18th, are items 5.1 of the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the minutes? May I have a mover and seconder for motion to approve the minutes at item 5.1? Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. Okay, the minutes of the last special meeting, October 28th, are at items 5.2 of the agenda. Are there any errors or omissions to note in the minutes? Seeing none, may I have a mover and seconder for a motion to approve the minutes at items 5.2? Councillor Tedesco, Councillor Muir. All in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. Okay, next is item 6.1 is a resolution pulled from the previous meeting relating to the structure inventory and inspections. Do members of council have any questions?
My question is, are they just looking for like a letter of support?
Yeah, just supporting the resolution. We brought it back because there was the question from council on the second page. But if you, as you see the word "and," it doesn't really lead to much
More.
else. But yeah, it's exactly what they're looking for.
Okay.
So I believe what we typically do is just change all this letterhead into Red Rock and just copy, copy the resolution and send it on. Councillor Mayor? Okay. Is there a mover and seconder for a motion to support correspondence from the Township of Scugog regarding structure inventory and inspections? Councillor Mayor, Councillor Tedesco. All in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. Okay, next is item 6.2 is a letter from co-op education teacher at the high school regarding a co-op placement. Do members of council have questions for admin?
How are the people receiving this information? This, what the hell am I trying to? How are the girls at the front office and I presume it's oh, God, Ashley, how are they receiving this proposal?
Like, how are they receiving the request?
Yeah.
It came from the cooperative education teacher at the high school, through to myself. So collectively, I support the program. I think it's a great program. So we kind of put a plan together between the three departments, the administrative staff, the library, as well as Ashley and her role in the community development office, that we'd take the student on. So we're excited. She's, I believe, ready to start on the 22nd of November. So the correspondence comes from the high school to us with a request that a student has a request to have a placement with us at the township office.
Mark, I was kind of aware of the mechanics of it. I was just hoping that everybody would be certainly on board with this. Knowing Ashley and the others certainly would be a welcome person to have a young high school person coming in and learning some of the things that go on.
Oh, definitely. Everybody is definitely on board, and we've had communication with the high school. We've let them know that, and again, yeah, she's expected to start. I think it's the 22nd of November.
Any other questions? Okay, we look forward to having the student. Okay, next is item 6.3. Thank you letter from the president CEO of the Thunder Bay Regional Health Science Center regarding the donation from council from last December. So that's just correspondence. I don't know if anyone has any questions, but that was added to the agenda. Okay, next is item 6.4 is a letter from the president of the Nipigon Elks Hockey in relation to a donation to the Junior B hockey team. Do members of council have any questions?
Have we provided donations in the past?
Not that I can see back into a history here. Again, it's a letter that comes through, so I bring it through as a communication, but not that I can see. I think this might be something that's a new initiative by the team.
We do have a motion, so I'll read the motion, and if it's supported, then we can come to a decision on the amount. Okay. So is there a mover and seconder for motion to make a donation to the Nipigon Elks Junior B hockey team? Okay, seeing none. Moving on. Next item is 6.5 is a letter from the Red Rock Legion Ladies Auxiliary regarding the 2021 Christmas Cheer Fund. Do member of council have any questions? Councillor Tedesco?
I think this is something that we have contributed to in the past, haven't we, Mayor?
Yes, we have. So I believe the typical donation is 100. I am in support of upping that donation amount. Any suggestions from council?
I suggest that we up it to 200 this year.
Any other comments, questions from council?
No, for me.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to make a donation to the Christmas Cheer Fund in the amount of $200? Sorry, Councillor Muir, Councillor Park, all in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. Okay, next item is 6.6, general update from the Thunder Bay District Social Service Administration Board. Do members of council have any questions? Okay, seeing none, moving on. Item 7.1 of the minutes from the DSAB for its meeting on September 16th. Do members of council have any questions? Seeing none, we've all read the report or their minutes. Okay, item 7.2 are the minutes from the Red Rock Public Library Board for the meeting on September 15th. Do members of council have any questions?
I just have a few questions. I'm just curious how, like, we just are going through COVID, just coming out, why we need more hours in hiring of the secondary. Just, you have an explanation on that? It doesn't really give explanation on it. I just thought it was strange coming out of COVID.
Well, we did have somebody leave, and then
Okay.
because of COVID, they weren't replaced. So now that person is being replaced.
Okay, that makes sense.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, I guess the CAO is upping the hours. It's a 5-hour a week. That's not much.
No, it's not much. It was actually implemented last year, but they never did
Oh, I
increase
see.
the hours because of COVID and working from home. But now there's a lot of things that the CEO has to do that's not in the office, like ordering books and doing all those things. So that has always been done on her own time. Right. So it was approved through the board and through council through their agenda. Through the budget, sorry, those hours be approved. Any other questions? Okay, do I have a mover and seconder for motion to receive the minutes? Councillor Park, Councillor McDonald. All in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. Okay, items 8.1 is a report of administrative activities. Do members of council have any questions of Mr. Figurmini? Councillor Tedesco.
CEMC compliance, how are we doing there? I believe that Ryan has just recently taken on that responsibility, and it's a big task to take on. How's he managing?
Well, Ryan's doing very well. We as a municipality are not compliant, and we haven't been compliant for about a few years, but we're working towards that right now. So we've got a really good solid plan in place. Ryan is doing the course now. And then there's a transition plan that will see me coming in as that alternate, but then me taking Ryan off and me becoming that main. Mostly because if there is an emergency, we don't want our fire chief in an office. We want our fire chief on site. I mean, it's a very important role. So compliance piece, we've met numerous times. We're getting there. We're very close. We learned about a few different exercises that we need to do as our municipality in training exclusive to our municipality. So we're planning that now. It's a kind of a disaster in the community, but related directly to Red Rock. So the compliance piece is coming along very well. And yeah, Ryan's doing a fantastic job with all the compliance training that he needs and that we need as a community to get there. So we're getting there. We're close.
Councillor Mayor.
So is there any updates with regards to, have we been able to make contact, Bruno, been able to make contact with anybody about purchasing that extra land?
So I have met with Silvio by phone. He's been out of town for the last 3 weeks. So I did meet with Silvio a couple of times via phone call. We were able to extend our agreement. He should be back in Thunder Bay this week, at which point the agreement is signed. So we're good to go. We're definitely able now to make those reach outs. We did have to get the final document signed and the extension, as I mentioned before, our previous extension or a previous agreement had expired. So yeah, we're supposed to meet as early as this week, and we'll be having those discussions.
Any other questions?
I have just one more question. Mark, with the extension, does that give us a year?
Yes, that's what it does. It basically extends us for a year to make these negotiations to see if we can acquire that land.
Mark, are you sensing any sort of hesitance at all about this? Because people are wondering, you know, like, is this project a go? Is it not?
Well, I think the best answer I can give you there is council has directed me to enter into an extension with Bruno's contract, and that's what I've done. Bruno's is very optimistic, as is Township of Red Rock and Council, that something can get done. It's going to take some work. I don't know what the actual task of acquiring property from a railway is, but we're going to give it our best shot. Like Silvio said, and when he was here, they have every commitment to doing the proposed project in Red Rock, and if they can acquire the land, that's what they would like to propose. If they can't, then we may have to change that scope to a smaller scope. So I think there's optimism still there, and in saying that, I think we as a council should really focus our plans now on being ready for that plan if it does happen, because we do come with the project does come with a commitment from the municipality. So I think that's where we as a group will focus our attention on, and hopefully acquiring the land and moving on from there.
Any other questions?
Congratulations on the wonderful job done on 19 Rankin Street. It looks absolutely beautiful. Congratulations, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to receive the report? Councillor Muir, Councillor Park. All in favor? Seeing all hands rising, motion is carried. Okay, item 8.2 is a report on payment vouchers. Do members of council have any questions? Councillor Tedesco.
Again, as before, I will be opposing this as there's not sufficient information to indicate where these monies are going to. So that will be my position. Thank you.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to approve the payments in the amount of $123,437.60? Councillor Park. Councillor McDonald. All in favor?
I do have a comment about this though. So the office staff take the time to put these into the library for general viewing. Can't we just get photocopies of that, put in our package just for council to make it easier?
I guess if there's a request from council to see that, then we can, if that's the desire of council. as stated prior to, we certainly will provide that information to council at any given time. If they want to see it when they're picking up their package, they're more than welcome to come in, sit down. I can show you all that information. I do say again, and I mean it, that the information is put together by staff. It's then viewed by and signed off by the mayor and myself. So it's not generally a day-to-day operations issue for council to be in the day-to-day operations, but again, I certainly work for you if that's what council wants, is a breakdown that way. We could have that provided to council.
I just like, it's a little bit confusing why we have to pass this when we don't really know what it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the purpose of us approving it if we have no idea what it is?
Well, the purpose is the policy of the role of council and approving the day-to-day operations and the spending of the person you hired as your CIO to run the day-to-day operation. So that's the general purpose, is to have it approved on a policy or a general level by council.
Okay.
Sorry, motion is carried with one against. Okay, next on the agenda is 8.3, a report relating to the Christmas turkey vouchers for staff and volunteers. Do members of council have any questions of Mr. Figlamini?
Mr.
Councillor
Figlamini,
Tedesco.
sorry, Mr. Figlamini, can you tell us what the amount is for these turkeys?
I can tell you that there is a detailed list put together where there will be 64 turkeys purchased. My general math without having solid numbers will be somewhere around $1,500 to $2,000 in that general ballpark. That does not include, that includes one turkey per family as well. So, if we have multiple family members, either A, volunteering, or B, working for the township, that's one turkey. So we have a number of 64 turkeys.
As a counselor, I don't feel it necessary to have a turkey voucher myself, but I certainly support having that for volunteers and for employees. So I do support it.
I oppose this because what we're asking for every man, woman, and child in the town of Red Rock to contribute $2 for staff, for volunteers. I just find it's unfair to the taxpayers to be paying for this.
So just some information that I looked into regarding when the turkey started and the whole backstory. It was initiated in 2003 when the township with municipal council and administration opted out of the Christmas dinner, which is provided to council members, all employees, volunteers, and committee members. So instead of having a big dinner, which cost the average back then was about $8,000, they opted to do this. What this really does, it's council showing a gratitude, appreciation, and recognition for the efforts from committee members, board members, volunteers, and employees for their hard work throughout the year. Today, I talked to 2 beautification committee members, not Councillor Park, and one has committed 60 hours. The other one was 100 hours of volunteer time. They do not expect anything, but it's an appreciation. It's gratitude for their efforts. Can you imagine Red Rock now not having the beautification committee or having all of that, right? Like it's nice. So I'm not going to talk about the library board, the efforts that they've put in through COVID. trying to make sure that everybody's still able to access books and do all of that. Environmental Committee is working hard and will continue to work hard. I know nobody, expects to receive anything, but that's not the point of expecting something or joining a committee to expect something, or, employees, they get paid, so they shouldn't receive anything. It's an appreciation, it's gratitude, and it's recognizing people for their efforts for the Township of Red Rock. Are there any other comments? Okay, is there a mover and seconder for motion to give staff and volunteer turkey vouchers for Christmas? Councilor Park. Councilor Robinson. Mayor Robinson.
So council can be opt out of this.
Anyone can opt out.
So yeah, I think that, I mean, honestly, every year the turkey thing comes up. Honestly, I have no problem coming to council and discussing anything, but like I told you on the phone today, this is the one thing that every single year I dread having this conversation about the turkeys, because it is extremely important to recognize people, number one. But it is, and again, with the backstory of the 2003, you're 100% right. Like, it could be $8,000 versus this. It's a sum of money that the taxpayers are paying for. And a lot of people are putting in a lot of time, a lot of effort. I mean, the firefighters are getting out of bed all hours of the night to find things. And I wish we could just have it in the budget, have something in the budget where we pass it once a year. Because this, like, it's not just turkeys, right? We're not just, it's not just giving away a turkey. It's a recognition thing. So, I mean, municipalities do it, some of the bigger ones don't. When you're looking at budgetary items and saying, well, let's chop this, and this. I mean, you're chopping Christmas spirit out. You're sending a month of we did this last year, but now we're not doing it. I think this is a good morale builder. It's one of those things. I don't know.
It is, when we do the budget, this is added into councils. So I'm not really sure why it's brought up every year. Maybe that's just the way it's written out, but it is already budgeted for into councils. Like when we make a donation of the $200 we did tonight for the Legion, that comes out of council's budget. So this is coming out of that same area.
So what is, sorry, your worship, what is our total that we have every year that we put aside for donations?
It would be part of the council budget. I'm not sure of that exact number. For some reason, I'm not sure of the exact number, but it is budgeted within that council budget for travel, donations, that kind of thing. If I can just add something to this discussion, that could be something that was provided by a resolution, to be an annual resolution that the township does, that would be the will of council. So if you didn't want this on your table every year, we could provide that by resolution, so that at which point it can always be altered by by this council in the following year. Then it would come back to the table for alteration after that. Other than that, this would be something that would go by resolution. I strongly inform you that this is not unique to Red Rock. I would say most municipalities will provide some kind of recognition to their staff. I can speak for one township I was involved with for many years. We did this on the level of providing a meal, and surrounding communities that I attended as members of surrounding communities did the same. This is not unique, and it's from a CAO level. I think it's a good positive message to send to your staff. I think it's definitely nothing that is out of the norm, and I think something that you see my recommendation. So I would recommend it moving forward.
I wish to mention that staff are paid, they're paid well. I don't want to go into the dollar per hour figures that they're getting. Volunteers, if they don't get the turkey, do you think that they will stop volunteering? I don't think that the beautification committee would stop and say, oh, well, I didn't get my turkey this year, so that's it. Firefighters, the same thing. I'm sure they'll respond. I just think the taxpayers should not be required to pay this kind of money. Can be spent better elsewhere.
No, and that's your opinion, and
That's correct.
I don't, again, I take the direction of you as a council. Again, the recommendation is in front of you, but to vote on, that's.
Councillor Mayor.
Yeah, just so, I guess my question is, so could we possibly have, if we need more information on how much we have a year in our budget that we give out?
So
we
I
could look
did,
at that.
I did discuss with the deputy clerk, and in council's account is, I believe, just over $20,000 is what we have, because we don't, we're quite frugal. We don't donate just to everybody. It's usually local people. We haven't traveled the last almost 3 years, really. So all of that money just keeps building up. So there is a bit of a nest egg in there, but again, that's for future use as well and for other donations.
So, your worship, some of that, so obviously it's a pot of money that keeps growing every year. Okay, so that's something to take into account as well too, right? It's a pot of money that keeps growing. It's put aside for this. I'm sure some, can have further discussion.
Okay, well, the motion's on the table. Is there a mover and seconder for motion to give staff and volunteers turkey vouchers for Christmas? It was moved by Councillor Park, seconded by Mayor Robinson. All in favor? Against? Are you abstaining? Unfortunately,
We do need an answer tonight. Unfortunately, like I said, we can alter that if the resolution, that you wanted somebody removed from that resolution, we could certainly alter that, or we could have a second resolution naming who you want in. We could vote on that, at which point then we would vote on the original. as
Okay,
well.
yeah,
So-
I would like to see that we look into this further with an opt-out clause and all that stuff, but yeah, I'll have to, I gotta go.
okay. Motion is denied. Okay, next on the agenda is 8.4 is information purpose relating to the 2022 OGRA conference. Do members of council have questions of Mr. Piglamini? Councillor Mayor.
Do we have any, anything set up? Like any meetings set up if we go to this? I know last time I went down, we were fortunate enough to get 3 meetings, but aside from the meetings with the ministers, there wasn't, it wasn't something I would recommend myself going to again. There was a lot, the meetings were great, but there was a lot more, it was more construction-based information being traded there, so to speak, I found. That was just my opinion on that.
Yeah, the process states that we would, I'm looking for direction tonight, exactly that, on who, if we should attend, who wants to attend. Those meetings, they're not even open yet to apply. So we would make those direct requests to speak to the ministers as we had a commitment to going. So yeah, I mean, history says we would definitely get meetings with ministers. I guess when you look at these 2 conferences, Good Roads and Roma, as recent as 4 or 5 years ago, those were combined conferences. So But now they're split. So you'll see Roma coming up as the next item as well. So I would agree that good roads, I from previous experience, I always found that Roma was a more productive after they split for the smaller communities, being rural Ontario Municipal Association. So if I had a recommendation, Good Roads this year is in person. I would say it is a good conference for Public Works, especially with some of the concerns we have around bridges and lift stations and those type of things. I would say at this point, if I had to make a recommendation on Good Roads, I would say that would be more of a conference at the administrative level, whether that was myself and the director of operations that and then Roma becomes one of those conferences. It's a virtual conference this year, but again, looking for the direction of council on both, right? If council is interested in attending, and then again, me reaching out to delegations that you may feel are a priority for the township at this point, because delegations are only as good with each ministry when you have a focused direction of where you're going. So for example, the Ministry of Infrastructure around bridges would be one that we would, I think, want to be having those discussions with. They may happen for numerous years, but I think they definitely have to start now. So my recommendation would be at this point that Good Roads was looked at from an administrative level, and Roma was in this particular case looked at if there was interest from council in attending virtually. As CIO, I will attend the Roma conference, but that's part of my job, and I know the mayor attended last time virtually as well. But if it's council's wish for me to register and at least reach out and try to reach out to those delegations, that's what I'll do.
I'm in favor of the Roma conference myself, and I will attend since it is virtual as well. Members of council can notify Mark if you want to attend the Roma conference. It is February of next year, but he will have to register. So keep that in mind. Okay, so item 8.5 was the Roma conference. We just discussed really both of them. No other questions or comments?
How come Roma's virtual? Where is it usually held? The Roma.
So both of these conferences, like I said, were joint for many years in Toronto. Now they're split. They're both still in Toronto, but they're split by like 3 weeks, right? So a lot of municipalities were faced with that decision of choosing a conference to go to. So these two conferences are both in Toronto.
I just found it weird. One's virtual, one's not.
Yeah, I actually found it weird as well, but I actually reached out to both to confirm, and that is exactly the case. One is in person and one is virtual. Yeah.
Okay, item 8.6 is for information purposes relating to the implementation of a declaration of acknowledgement of traditional territory at the beginning of our council meetings. Do members of council have any questions of Mr. Figlamini?
Do you have something approved?
I will bring that to the next meeting. I was looking for just that solid direction. I have spoke with the chief at the Red Rock Indian Band. He's going to put. We're going to work on one. We would bring it to the next council meeting.
No other questions, comments? Keep moving on. Okay, item 8.7 is for nomination purposes and relates to the top of Lake Superior Chamber of Commerce. They are looking for a member of council and a member of administration to sit on the board. Do members of council have questions of Mr. Figlamini? The CDO, Ashley Davis, will be the admin sitting on that board. Is anyone interested in sitting on the board?
Do we have any, is it like quarterly or how often are they meeting?
Well, the way it stands right now, Melissa, is they're looking to just reestablish the board. So I don't have those timeline details for you right now, but what I can say is their attempt at reestablishing the board is getting members from the communities. So if if you did commit to that board, they're not holding anyone to that commitment. Like, you're more than welcome to stay on that board, but they're hoping to at least bring a group together collectively by getting members from each municipality. Then they'd love to have us stay. But in saying that, they're hoping then to recruit from the community. But in order to have that inaugural first meeting, they're looking for representation to hold that meeting. So I don't have a detailed schedule. I can get that for you if you're interested, or at least where they're looking but from previous history, talking and being involved in a chamber as a board level, I mean, it definitely wasn't anything that was time consuming, excessive by any means.
Yeah, we can put my name in there and figure out those details as they come.
And I'll provide that to them tomorrow then. Thank you.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to appoint Ashley Davis and Councillor McDonald to represent Red Rock on the Chamber of Commerce Board? Councillor Muir, Councillor Park, all in favor? You can still vote. Yeah, you can still vote. Motion is carries. Okay, next on the report is 8.8 is an updated policy. Policy change for the township's special recognition policy. Do members of council have questions for Mr. Vigranini? Councillor Tedesco?
I think it's a good idea to recognize certain things. I have a difficulty with the money figure. I think a card or some recognition through the website would be more than adequate.
Well, this is basically, we're rewriting an existing policy that you already have. So you do have a monetary value in your policy. Your existing policy says, and the reason it says a $35 to $50 floral arrangement. So as we go through some policies and bylaws that we come across that are outdated, this was last updated, I believe, in 2010 or 2012. We've come across this quite a bit in the last little bit. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever special, and we thought special occasion recognition is what it was called. We thought we changed that to recognition of significant events because it did include death of family members, this and that. So you did have a policy. It was generally worded that it had to be a specific, and in our case, it was a floral arrangement at that amount. So we thought by updating that to current 2021 pricing, as well as the word gift, as opposed to floral arrangement, it was just kind of cleaning up the policy and updating it.
Mark, who do floral arrangements go to?
Well, it clearly says it would be the grand openings of businesses. It would be funerals of births, hospitalizations, retirements. It's clearly,
It says it's in the
it's clearly
policy.
detailed in the
Okay,
policy.
I'm requesting some clarification as to what the policy is. Is it for our employees? Is it for anybody that passes on in the community? Is it anybody that weds in the community? Is it anybody that has the?
No, so anniversaries and birthdays at a certain age are for residents in the community. So once they hit that particular age upon request, we would provide that gift upon request. Grand openings are obviously businesses. And when you get into your funerals is your staffing members, funerals, births, hospitalizations, retirements. So item 4 through 7 would be your staff, members of council, and items one through three that then would be general residents, right? So general residents, you will see a card is something that would be given in a lot of cases. A card and a gift are other residences upon request. And again, that hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed in the policy is an update in price is basically in the word floral arrangement to gift. For example, a male, not everyone may not, it limits you, your purchasing policy in that case limits you to technically to follow your policy. It would be a floral arrangement.
Can we bring this back and study it some more?
So instead of a floral arrangement, it could be a fruit basket. It could be something like that. Again, it was changed from $35 to $50 because I believe it was 2009, the policy, right? The cost of things have gone up. So to get a floral arrangement. In July myself, I was asked late Friday afternoon to provide, to go to a gentleman's 94th birthday party. And on my own, I made up some certificate of excellence or appreciation, bought a frame and went to the birthday party and presented it on behalf of the township, provided some pins from the township and wished him well, and made a mayor for the rest of, honorary mayor for the rest of the day. So it's just, you know, if people know that there's significant birthdays or anniversaries, they can ask the township, you know, to provide, you know, a card on behalf of the township. So that's what part of this policy is. I know most workplaces have something for bereavement, right? So it, again, it's just upping the limit because nowadays you just can't buy a floral arrangement for $35, unfortunately, or a small gift basket. So that's the change of this policy is why he brought it up, because we've had quite a few this year, unfortunately, of you know, having to use this policy.
I do agree with the concept of recognizing that, just thinking if it's possible to revisit it, study it and revisit it, and maybe changing it around. Thank you.
Okay, is there a mover and seconder for a motion to approve the amended special recognition policy? Councillor Park. Councillor Muir. All in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Okay, next on the report is 8.9 is for information purposes relating to the electronic council meeting recordings. Do members of council have questions of Mr. Figlinini? Councillor Muir.
So we could keep these on. Is this to erase them from the YouTube account?
Yeah, basically that would delete after 60 days. It would delete any of our live council meetings from social media.
Oh, I don't mind watching them over and over again. Don't. I like them being up there because then next year the turkeys come up, I can go and see what we did. So no, I don't honestly don't mind. I don't see any reason why we would take them down. I mean, they're just a running record of our history. I think it's great that we record them now. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's just a policy again that municipalities follow. Basically, your minutes are the official record of your meeting. You will find if you did research around that most municipalities do remove their minute, or sorry, their live recordings. That's why I would recommend 60 days. You will find municipalities that do it in 90. You will find municipalities that do it in 30. You'll find municipalities that don't do it at all. They don't live stream their meetings. You'll find others that live stream that evening, and then that's it. That's their policy. So in Red Rock, what I find is our transparency piece is more than most. We have open public meetings. We produce minutes, obviously, as all municipalities do, and we would provide it as a virtual stream. So what you can't control in that case, though, is somebody taking that meeting, altering it. It also protects the township as well as council for anything like that happening. Not that it can't happen in 60 days, but again, it can happen. And when you do have it in your policy, it does show that you are being transparent and your minutes are actually your official recording of the meeting. So it's just a suggested. Again, it's the decision of council, but it's what's suggested from a policy and procedural manner.
And also with discussions with municipal housing and affairs, it's good to set a policy on having them eventually removed. So you just pick a date, as Mark had said, 60 days or 90 days, 90 days being the max. So that's all the information that I could gather. Councillor Tedesco?
I would like to see them remain.
Councillor.
So do you think like a way around this would be to maybe remove them from the YouTube account and keep them in office? I guess keep a copy of those video meetings in case somebody maybe requests them, or we need to go back and look at something. Could be for legal, could be for.
Well, again, it does state that your official record of the meeting is your minutes. So that I don't think the policy of holding them in-house is anything that is actively practiced as well. But in saying that, again, it's certainly the will of council. It's nothing that is stated that this is how it has to technically be done, but it's highly recommended, and it's something that procedurally I think we should implement within the township.
So
60
everybody does have the option of downloading when they're watching it, so they can keep them themselves. So it's not, it's out in the open, so there's no freedom of information request that needs to be required on that, because you have full access to that and to download it.
And this is something that meetings were never recorded before COVID, correct? Correct. You guys just went by the meeting minutes.
Yeah.
And most municipalities, like Nipigon doesn't post them, Shunya, like there's quite a few. So we're quite progressive in that way. So I don't really see the issue on this. Again, anybody at home watching them can simply just click the button and download them and keep them for themselves. As our policy is, the written reports are what's required.
So can we defer it and just think about it for the next, and maybe revisit it at the end of the month, the next meeting?
Well, this is just a discussion topic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so there's no resolution on the table. It's just that direction of council, which we would then bring a resolution to our next meeting. It's more of a for that discussion. If the discussion is, hey, we don't want to look at this, we want to leave them there, then we leave them there, and it's done. If the discussion is bring back the resolution, then we bring back the resolution for vote at next meeting.
So is there like a security issue? Is that why they remove it? So there, I guess, is the worry somebody's going to take it off the web and put lightsabers in their hands? And
Well, I guess from a procedural point of view, that could happen. It's also there to ultimately protect council as well from somebody going back years or what in pulling something like that. Again, as the mayor said, it certainly doesn't stop somebody from taking that information and either keeping it, altering it, sending it off. It is a safeguard. That's why the policy or the procedure would be put in place. Again, we as a municipality are open and transparent, and I think a lot more open and transparent than most municipalities our size or in the area. So I don't think by doing this, it shows any sign of non-transparency at all, in my opinion.
Okay, there are no new bylaws to approve. There's no new business at this meeting. There's no unfinished business. So next item is bylaw to confirm proceedings of council. Can I have a mover and seconder for motion to pass this bylaw? Councillor Park, Councillor Muir. All in favor? All hands rising, motion is carried. Okay, the time being 8:05. There's no new business or no further business to discuss. Meeting is adjourned.